And thank you for joining us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and our topic today, saving Black girls from violence and nurturing their success. With us to explore ways of doing both of these is Dr. Salamisha Tillett, activist, writer, and social critic, and also Associate Professor of English and Africana Studies at the University of Pennsylvania. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
We've been trying to get you here forever. You're just too busy.
Yeah.
In such demand. And the thing that drives me most crazy is that I see what you're teaching in your classes.
Okay.
And I say, why can't I just get in a car and go there and sit there? What's the title of this course now, which is so exciting?
Yeah, my graduate course is called From Bessie Smith to Beyonce, 20th Century African American Women Performers. And so each week we look at two different performers in African American history, obviously starting with the blues women and then ending up in this contemporary moment. And the class ends with Rihanna and Beyonce. It's been magnificent. We cover different genres, different periods, different artists.
I know. That's it's so exciting.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like when I went to college, nothing that remotely interesting.
Yeah.
So keep that up.
Thank you.
So you say you're ending with Beyonce, but now you've entered the beyond Beyonce mode because so much is happening with her.
Yeah.
As you guys say, she dropped something.
Yeah.
She dropped a visual album.
Yeah, she dropped a visual album called Lemonade. And again, the internet stopped because Beyonce put forth a magnificent musical and visual. Visual album is a term that's been around, but I think Beyonce's perfected it and made it more mainstream. So yeah, is it a music video? Is it an album? Is it something else? It's all up for debate.
Well, it lasts for an hour. It's
It
an
does.
extraordinarily, such creativity involved in that. I didn't realize that it was going to be an hour when I started watching, but I just kept watching.
Yeah.
And I had two things to say because people have brought up the classical beauty aspect of it as Daughters of the Dust, Julie Dash's film.
Exactly.
That some of that is there. But
Yeah.
I also thought, and you'll talk about this, that it was the best ever tantrum I have seen about side women. It is, and I said somebody should be looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're in trouble now. So tell us what this is all about.
Well, I guess there's multiple layers. So on the most literal level, it's a story about marital conflict and then resolution, redemption, and finding oneself through that struggle. So that's where the side chick kind of comes in, and whether or not Jay-Z did or did not have multiple affairs or one affair, and how Beyonce reconciled that, I think is the kind of, the one way to read it. I think it's operating though on so many different levels because I think what Beyonce is doing, she dropped the song and the video Formation, which she then premiered at the Super Bowl during the halftime show. And this is an extension of some of the political and aesthetic comments that she was making in that, right? So she's not only centering Black women, but she's centering a variety of Black women in terms of body types and ages and color. And so in many ways, I think it's like the biggest, even if it's about marital conflict, it's also this beautiful love letter to Black women in the United States, but throughout the diaspora. And I think that is, what a lot of people are also responding to.
Right. I saw you on PBS being interviewed about this, and I love the way you say that she centered the usually marginalized women, Black
exactly.
women.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people comparing it, like you said, to Julie Dash's Daughters of the Dust. I hear people comparing it to Azor and Laura Hurston's kind of Southern aesthetic. Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, they loom large as maybe influences. But I think what Beyonce does visually is through these kind of different vignettes, show a history of America. It starts in the Southern plantation, but these are women who we would think of as housewomen, but all of the women are fitting into that norm. And then she gives us, through her story and through the lyrics of the song and through the various visuals, a story of New Orleans, a story of Louisiana, and then ultimately the story of the United States that starts with a collection of women and then ends with these beautiful portraits of African-American mothers whose sons who have been recently slain by police officers. So I think she's giving us the kind of history of racism and history of gender oppression in the United States and the ways in which African-American women, as a matter of political strategy, have been able to make lemonade out of lemons, right?
Lemonade out of lemons, right, precisely.
Yeah, resilience, improvisation, resistance, freedom dreaming. I think all of that's there. And I think that's what's beautiful about it, right? She's kind of making a political statement. She's making a testament about a long-term strategy of African American women's resistance and leadership, and then she's also has these other personal testimonials,
issues.
Perhaps that are there.
What was funniest about the whole thing, although I appreciate your serious analysis,
Yeah,
but
that's fine. I can go back and forth.
But was this Becky with the straight hair or something, or with the good hair?
Good hair, yeah.
Good hair,
Yeah.
and that the woman got misidentified. Somebody, and now you tell us who it was.
Well,
Rachel.
I mean, did she?
You don't want to get into.
I don't know if she got misidentified, but she did comment on Twitter that about the good hair, and then she made a kind of funny remark about that she's a no drama person. So whether
that was Rachel Roy,
the
Roy.
fashion designer, whose outfit I'm actually like wearing.
Oh, really?
How, right now, so how ironic.
How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient for
All
our
right,
conversation. Yeah, I didn't
So
think
now
of
we
that.
know who Rachel Roy is.
Yeah, she's a designer. Yes.
But some people online thought it was Rachel Ray, the chef.
Yes, because their names are so similar.
Right,
And
right.
apparently her Instagram, both of their Instagram pages were inundated with beehives and bees and,
Criticism. And,
Yeah, and then
you
criticism.
did that, whatever. But also Rachel Ray sold out her items, I think. I don't know
Oh.
how well Rachel Roy did with her
yeah,
designs.
okay, well, that's good, I guess.
But it's an incredible thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned the portraits of the mothers who'd lost their sons in violence. There's some criticism of including that. I mean, I thought it was very effective.
Okay.
But I've read elsewhere where people thought that should not have been a part of it.
That story?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it should have been. I mean, it's up to the artist to make the decision on what they want to do. But I think, again, Beyonce's, the story, the Lemony, the grandmother is Jay-Z's mother, a grandmother, sorry. And then her mother is really prominently featured. And I think Beyonce was both thinking about what motherhood looks like, what Black motherhood looks like, the ways in which that's kind of overly determined by race and gender. What does it mean to have your children gone too soon, killed by the state? My only criticism actually would be not that she should have included them, but that it would have been interesting to have African American mothers whose daughters have been taken away as well, right? So,
exactly.
I mean, they're in a way, what does state oppression look like? Is it something that Black men experience in this particular way, or is it something the community experiences? And I think the video or the visual album grapples with that. I think Beyonce believes that African Americans, or at least the album suggests that Beyonce believes that African Americans are both artistic creators and innovators and adjust to different forms of oppression by creating art. But also, I think that there's this kind of mother and son narrative that she features. That's very common. That would be my, but I think she definitely include them. I think we're at a moment where we have a social movement that's pushing all of us to acknowledge the deep humanity of African Americans and the ways in which the lives of young people are being taken so easily, so quickly, and without any sense of justice. And I think Beyonce is moved by that moment, and this is a testament to that.
And you're an expert. This is your field, actually.
Okay,
reading your book where you connect this popular culture with the deep-seated issues that are happening to African Americans, Black Americans.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the research that went into your book, which is an academic book.
Yeah.
I'm working my way through.
No, it's okay. Yes.
But it's
as one works one way through these things. Yes.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Sites of Slavery.
Yes, it's Sites of Slavery, and the image on the cover is from the photographer Carrie Mae Weems. And I was really interested, and this is kind of going way back, so the mid-90s, I was in college. And there were all these novels on slavery that were coming out by contemporary African-American writers. So Toni Morrison's Beloved being the most famous. And so then I was like, why is this happening? Like, why are all these new novels? Like every year there was a new novel. And then when I went to graduate school, I realized it wasn't just the kind of literary domain that these like understandings or representations of slavery happening, but artists from Kara Walker, Wynton Marsalis, Bill T. Jones, were all reimagining slavery and doing works that put the slave past in the present. And so I was curious, well, why that is. Now we have even more stuff from 12 Years a Slave to Birth of a Nation that's coming out in October. We have The Roots is being revived on A&E, and then there's a television show called The Underground on WGN. So for me, it's like, well, why is slavery still a preoccupation of the African-American artist? And I argue that part of it's because America still hasn't come to terms with this past. There are at least at the time when I was writing the book, no formal remembrances of slavery in the American landscape. Now there are museums and more formal memorials, but at the time I was writing, there were none.
Right.
So, one, in the absence of monuments or legislation or anything that recognizes the contributions of enslaved African Americans to the United States, African American artists and writers and activists have done the remembering for us. And so that's what my book looks at.
Yeah, and it's fascinating.
Thank
Be
you.
sure to read it. But I want to know how you became Salamisha Tillett. So tell us, place yourself in Black America.
Black America.
Yeah, right. Where did you grow up? Who were your influences? And tell us the story of how you got the name Salamisha. It's just fascinating.
Yes, well, I'm of, my mother's African American. Her parents are from North Carolina and Louisiana, and my father is Trinidadian. And so they met in a diasporic city north of here called Boston. And so I was born in Boston during the mid-'70s. And so my name in many ways reflects my parents' own interest and experiences in the Black Power era. So Salam is Arabic for peace, and then Shah is Farsi for like kingly. And then they always interpreted the me as black. So etymologically, it doesn't mean that. So my parents would be like, peace, black, majestic. That's like what your name means. So I grew up with a difficult name in some ways, even though there were a lot of Aishas in the mix.
Right. Not too many Salamishas.
Salamishas, yes. My parents claim I'm the only one.
You may be.
I know. Yeah, because they put the words together. So I think that was my how I came into the world with the name Salamisha. But I grew up in a really artistic household. My mother is a singer, a jazz singer. She was a kind of what we think of as a kind of classic R&B singer when I was growing up, and now is a jazz singer. And then we grew up, my sister and I, she's 3 years younger than me, and her name is Scheherazade, so her name is obviously in the spirit of activism as well. We grew up just going to community cultural centers in Boston, most famously the Elma Lewis Center. So we grew up with a very performing arts background, and in the way in which I think a lot of children of color, African American children, grow up with, like art and music and literature. They're all kind of integrated in one's identity, and so you don't think of them as discrete art forms. And I think this then shaped how I became a cultural critic who moves in and out of various disciplines and mediums.
Right. And so, and going to Harvard, how did that happen?
Well, I went to undergrad and studied English and African American studies at the University of Pennsylvania. I then went to Brown and got my master's in the art of teaching. I really wanted to learn how to teach before I went to...
You were just awarded, right, as the best assistant teacher?
Yeah, when I was a couple of years ago. When I got to Penn.
So
that it paid off. I got rewarded for it. But I also graduated college when I was 20, so I didn't want to go. I skipped first grade, and I just thought that I may be too young. Intellectually and emotionally to go straight into a PhD program. So I got my master's and I taught like high school and middle school English, and then ended up going to Harvard to get my PhD in history of American civilization. It's now called American Studies. And my advisors, Evelyn Higginbotham, Henry Louis Gates, Werner Solon.
Well, sort of the royalty of advisors.
Yeah, and then
right?
Farrah Griffin from Columbia was my undergrad advisor, and then she also became one of my dissertation advisors as well.
Right. Yeah, I saw your acknowledgement to them. I said, that's a powerhouse.
That was my favorite part of writing the book, the acknowledgements, actually. It was,
right.
Yeah.
So you and your sister started an organization, A Long Walk Home, which has just been given a huge, significant, prestigious grant from the Novo Foundation for your work with girls. But that organization was based on experiences that you had. So can you talk with us a little bit about that?
Sure. I'm a sexual assault survivor. I was sexually assaulted when I was an undergraduate at the University of Pennsylvania. And part of my response to that is very common. I was ashamed. I didn't tell people. And then eventually I made my way to therapy, but I was really, 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 really depressed. And as I was working through my own trauma, and then I was becoming more and more public about it, meaning that I published my story in the feminist newspaper on campus. My sister was taking a social documentary class. She went to Tufts, but she was spending a semester at Rutgers, the Mason Gross School of Arts. She was taking a class with this phenomenal social documentary photographer, Steve Hart. And so she just took one shot of me, and it was a really difficult moment because it was a moment where I saw my perpetrator. And her teacher was like, Steve Hart was like, well, I think this should be your project. Follow your sister. And so we had no idea. This is like in 1998. So we had no idea what she was going to do. There were at the time very few models around survivor healing. And so she had to look at cancer survivors and people who were living with HIV/AIDS. And then she created this as a student project. She went back to Tufts the following year, and it was the same year I was at Harvard. And so she created a multimedia performance called Story of a Rape Survivor.
Otherwise known as SOARS, which
exactly.
is, and now tens of thousands
yes, of people
of
have
girls.
been seen SOARS. And we traveled colleges, and this is before the college activism really took off, like we see right now around college campuses around sexual assault reform. And so that was our first program. And then from there, we created a high school, a girl version of it called Girlfriends. And basically, in a similar model, we're using art and activism to empower young girls, particularly African-American girls in Chicago, to address issues of injustice in their communities and in their schools.
So we have a clip we want to play.
Okay.
This is from one of the SOARS performances, but based on your journal, on your poetry. Let's take a look at that right now.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know what rape feels like? Do you know what it feels like to have your howl silenced by a fist? What it feels like when you are rushed into, pressed down on, and opened by a knife?
So this is powerful, but this is again your theory that art can bring about the healing that's necessary in young girls and women, the victims of sexual assault.
So I wrote that poem in response to a friend of mine, an African American man who wasn't really sure like how common rape was in the Black community, and I just wrote that to myself, and I was really obviously in despair and anger. And my sister, as part of her social documentation, found this poem in my journal and asked if we could use it in the performance. And then we hired actresses there. That's Regine Jean-Charles, who's a professor at Boston College, who's also an activist and an artist and a board member of Alon Wacom now. So yeah, I believe that art is instrumental tool for healing, but I also think it's also an avenue for community and engagement and awareness and consciousness raising, as well as justice. And so I think for all of us who do this performance and use this work, we're using art to do many different things at the same time. And hopefully, we always do a prayer before the performance, and if we just touch one survivor, we've made the difference. But we're really also trying to touch allies and partners and different constituents who are impacted by this epidemic of gender-based violence.
You're just coming from a huge conference at Columbia University.
Yes.
The girls' power, Black girls' power.
Black Girl Movement.
Right.
Yeah.
Black Girl Movement.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how that. I saw some of the images, and they were just so moving. It was an effective gathering.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the most important and transformative professional and personal experiences I've had to date. So we started Black Girl Movement a year and a half ago, started planning it. So it's a coalition of artists and activists and academics coming together. And we were in some ways inspired by the activism that all of us have been doing around gender inclusion in President Obama's signature initiative, My Brother's Keeper. So in that moment, we were asking for an inclusion of girls, or a recognition that Black girls are also in crisis. At the same time, they're the major contributors to families, communities, and then ultimately the United States. So we then designed a conference in which we not only wanted to highlight those who are doing the work historically and presently around Black girlhood, but Black girls themselves, Black girls as practitioners, Black girls as best practice experts, as leaders and artists. And so it was amazing 3 days. We opened with a photography exhibit that featured the work of African-American artists or Black women photographers and Black girl photographers called Picturing Black Girlhood. And then we had a series of workshops and panels, and we ended with Camille Brown's, an excerpt from Camille Brown's magnificent Black girl linguistic play that she had premiered at the Joyce in September of last year. So we began with Scheherazade's exhibition and ended with Camille, but in between that, there were a number of just really important conversations and really groundbreaking workshops led by girls themselves.
And so you mentioned the inclusion of, for instance, in Lemonade with Beyonce, it would have been nice, well, which is not the proper word, but it would have been important to include the mothers who had lost daughters.
Yes, like Sandra Bland's mother.
So exactly. So talk a little bit about Say Her Name. I know it came out of the Brothers Keepers
Yes.
exclusion, what seemed to be, and
Yeah.
outrage what had happened. You know, what do you mean the White House is taking on black boys? What about the girls?
Yeah, I mean, I think Say Her Name came also in response to Black Lives Matter, which is a movement, as we know, that was founded by 3 black queer women. But that even with these kind of radical origins, whether it was the media or whether it's the public's attention, it just didn't seem to realize that people like, Rekia Boyd, who was also killed in Chicago in 2012, by a police officer, were victims of state violence. And so Say Her Name is a response to and an intervention to the ways in which black girls and black women are still excluded from our organizing.
Right. We have some photos. I'm going to try to read this a little. It says, I was surprised to see this figure, that black women and girls are also disproportionately subjected to police violence, accounting for 20% of the unarmed people killed by police since 1999. Despite being just 7% of the population, among them, Ayanna Stanley Jones, a 7-year-old who was killed by Detroit police while sleeping on her couch, Natasha McKenna, who was fully restrained when she was stunned to death by a taser in a Virginia jail, Rekia Boyd, unarmed when she was shot and killed in Chicago by an officer, and Betty Jones, killed the day after Christmas by an officer responding to a call in her building. And so just to name a few of the women we've lost, with names that are certainly not as familiar as the men who have been killed by police.
Yeah, I mean, so on a more literal level, like Say Her Name is literally just saying that litany of names and saying it out loud, because black girls and black women are invisible in so many ways, but also in death we remain invisible too. And I think Say Her Name was or is a powerful testament to the lives of these girls and women, but also the ways in which racism and sexism and classism kind of come together. And then when those things intersect, who gets lost in that are oftentimes black girls and black women. And then even within that, black trans women or black queer girls and black women. So it's just an attempt to redress a wrong, at the same time holding the state and communities accountable. And in terms of Rekia Boyd, because she was killed in a park in Chicago, Douglas Park, which is near, or the park that many of our girls from Girlfriends use, it's a particularly poignant and tragic episode. And so Alama Combe is working to build a public artistic memorial to recognize her life and the tragedy of her death.
Right. We should reemphasize that Along Walk Home is based in Chicago.
Yes, it's a Chicago-based national organization.
A national organization.
Yeah.
You've touched the lives of many. So now you now have 2 children.
I do.
Love 2 adorable babies. I love watching, looking at them on Facebook.
Yeah.
You see, I'm following.
Yes. No, I follow you. We follow each other.
But to see that, so you've made this transition. You would stand as an example of someone who can be the subject of sexual assault, not just once but twice.
Yes.
And survive and go on to have an effective, complete life.
Yeah. And I think becoming a mother was a really important process in terms of my own journey of healing, partly because when you're pregnant, you just don't have control over your body. And that's oftentimes a trigger for victims of sexual violence who have been so demoralized and exploited and lose control of their body and someone takes over. So that just on a physical or bodily level, it was really important. But I also think, because I'm also a victim of childhood sexual assault, and so to bring children into the world and feel like, that there's a possibility that these children could not experience this, I think is also part of my own healing, right? So, because 1 in 6 boys are a victim of sexual violence, and then as we know, 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 women are victims of sexual violence. And so knowing that and then being a victim as well, kind of makes me hyper aware and heightens my sensibility. But also, I believe in the beauty of the world. I believe that there are safe spaces for children. And then on top of that, having African American children and what that means with
Sure.
all the various forms of state violence that they're vulnerable to. Right. It's just, back to, I guess, the lemonade. What does it mean to imagine Black motherhood in the 21st century? You're thinking about all of these things, and yet you also hope that your children, and you hope to create a world in which your children will have a more fair and just existence.
Among the things that you're doing is a book about Nina Simone.
Yes, okay.
So thank you for that. But,
Thank you.
But talk to us about why. I would assume that you're not really pleased with what's been produced so far on
What's
her
been
life.
happening? Well, I became interested in Nina Simone when I was finishing my dissertation. Again, you can see that a trend of mine is how does the past influence the present, or how does the past live in the present? So I became interested in Nina Simone because she kept on being sampled by all of these African-American hip-hop artists, or invoked by R&B musicians like John Legend or Kanye West or Common. But now the book is primarily looking at what I think is her most important song, but a song that actually very few artists cover or sample, Mississippi Goddamn. She writes the song in response to the bombing in Birmingham, in which the 4 young girls
Precisely.
are murdered.
Right.
And I think this is as important as King's letter in Birmingham and James Baldwin's The Fire
Well,
Next Time.
we can't wait for it to come out.
Thank you.
For Salamisha Tillett's take on that is going to be extraordinary. Our last question.
Yes.
To finish the sentence: the power, the strength of Black America lies in
Freedom dreaming.
freedom dreaming.
It's a hyphen, so it could be one
Thank
word.
you, Dr. Tillett.
Okay, one word.
Freedom dreaming.
Freedom dreaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you come back.
Oh no, this was so
'cause
fun. I love
you
it.
have so much to talk about, and you made so many contributions. It's
Thank
a pleasure.
you. I'm so honored to
Go
be
home
here.
and kiss
Thank
those
you.
babies.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we thank you too for being with us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and we will see you the next time.